Hi, it's Miss Katie. I'm so glad that you came to this, the last online drawing class. Today's assignment will be working with charcoal and white pastel. We'll also be looking at objects, in my case, that are brushed aluminum, but in your case, they could be any shiny objects. Silver, silver plate, something that has a lot of highlight. That way we can do the maximum amount of value shift, highest value range. We're using the smudge stick or blending stump, the black and the white charcoal pencils and pastels, a pink eraser, a kneaded eraser, white pastels, and black alpha color pastels. So that's the goal today. Let's get started. So while we're working with brushed aluminum, in my case, and possibly silver in your case, one of the interesting things you can do is you can squint at it, close your eyes almost all the way, and you'll see just the areas of highlight that the light hits and bounces back into your eyes. You've got some areas that are really, really bright, and there's some areas that are really, really dark. Sometimes those two are very close to each other, and that almost always makes a highlight brighter. So basically we're doing a drawing about how the light bounces off the surface, and we're going to try to include as many values as possible. Because I have compressed my objects into a small space in order to turn it into a vertical composition, I have to make sure that I can fit everything in. So I'm doing not the foreground piece first, but the largest, or the background, first, to be sure there's room for that. I try and make the two sides curve about the same. Before I even put on the spout or the handle, I'm going to sketch in the beer stein in front. And then behind that, I have two salt and pepper shakers. What's tricky is if you have two of the same things, you have to make it believable that they're two of a kind. I'll turn it over. That way I can see if it's symmetrical. And here I'm looking at the negative shape because it has a hole in it. I'll see the object behind it, but also because it's 3D, it'll have a second part. And basically this is a corner coming toward me. And we see approximately the same amount of the inside down here as we see of the top. Turn it to get the curve of the bottom of the water kettle. Everything here to here, here to here will be dark. And each of these objects have dark on the outside, a little bit of light, but I should show where the white is, and I think I generally have white all the way along here. Similarly, there's a white element there, a white element here, right across here. So that's just a layout. I want to be sure that I don't forget to put the whites in all of those places. And then I switch over and start using my pastels. Start with the whites. It's one of the reasons we have this nice dark paper, is that it's easier to see the whites when you lay them down on the gray. I'm also going to use white in my foreground. Each one of these little caps is going to have a little bit of reflection on the top. It kind of sets it apart from the background. There's a little bit of light going over the top of this one. I also want to do the shadows. There'll be cast shadows of each object because it's on a white background. You'll see them against the white. Not so much here, but mostly here and here. If you want two different values of black, you can use your charcoal pencil for the one in front and the compressed charcoal for the one down below here. It gets almost white, but we're going to use the color of the paper here. I'm leaving a little bit of the gray paper in between the triangle of black and the stripe of white in the spout. And I can also use this is my kneaded eraser, by blotting it and picking up the dust if I want there to be more space in between there. Remember what I said about the lights being right next to the darks? We need these darks down here in order to punch those highlights up. Similarly, you need the dark around this corner to make that light come forward. And I have to articulate the top of the beer stein. Because it's in front, it's coming forward the most. And then there really is mostly just a lot of smearing with your smudge stick. I have to have this be dark, and it captures a little bit of light up here. So we can imagine putting our hands in there to pick it up. But once you have all of the darks and lights laid in, the last bit is just to clarify the outer edge and smudge it in just a little bit more. I'm going to do that on my metal parts, and then I'll just fill in black in the areas where, like the bottom of the water kettle, it stays black. So I'm going to let you take it from here, but this is the way you start, and then you'll work with your edges for a while and your smudge stick for a while, and you'll have at least 5 values when you're done. Good luck.